And welcome back to my channel, Buggy Duck! Yep, the duck is back, and here we are playing one of my all-time favorite games. Also, I've only been playing it for like a week. Tabs, or Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. It's a game where you basically simulate. But I also have something important to tell all of you, and that is, I am writing a novel. So my full plan for this video is I'll basically be playing some accurate battle simulator while talking about my novel. So my novel is going to be called The Magic Pebbles, and it's basically kind of like a dinosaur fantasy novel. So it takes place in a little fantasy realm that I created myself. And it's basically like a fantasy realm in which there's no humans basically, so it's just animals. You know, the animals have like human intelligence. Okay, I'm doing very well. So basically all the animals have like human level intelligence, and then the whole like fantasy realm is divided into several like animal kingdoms, which are basically like named after their own biomes. So obviously there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to unpack here, so this will be a brief overview. So The Magic Pebbles is going to be a novel about some consequence and how fun it is to write stuff about edgy dinosaurs. So the whole thing is that the main villain of the novel is absolute something. Okay. So, in a lot of the different kingdoms in the whole like fantasy realm, there is a discovery. So a pack of wolves discover magical pebbles that can basically give people like superpowers. And unfortunately, someone learns of these pebbles and tries to use them for their own nefarious purposes, and that someone is named the noble, a raptor, to be specific. So this raptor is just one of the edgiest dinosaurs written in fiction, I believe. At least that's what I'm trying to see here. So basically, these pebbles are the namesake of the novel, the Magic Pebbles, and also the main plot point. Because while these pebbles may grant superpowers, they do so at a terrible cost. That's where it's a story about consequences comes in. So, the wolves discover the pebbles and they start using them, and that makes their life easier. But the pebbles have a side effect. It's a terrible curse. So, eventually, things start getting worse and worse for the wolves. And to make matters even more worse, the whole forest is put in danger when basically like the evil raptor discovers the pebbles and basically attempts to take over the forest. And meanwhile, there's all the stuff about raptors and wolves and stuff. There's also third big plot point, and those are birds. So one of my favorite parts, one of my favorite sets of characters to design in the novel was a village of birds. And these birds, they basically live in a cliff, their own little village built there. And one of these birds is a heron named Sky. And Sky is under the curse of the pebbles, and was on there for a long time. And one plot point for the novel is that basically this heron is trying to figure out the origin of her curse, and eventually it discovers that it's pebbles. And the fourth big plot point is a triceratops. So basically a triceratops hatchling who becomes separated from his herd when the evil raptor uses the pebbles and basically kills all the triceratops. So, and this triceratops ends up being raised by other dinosaurs, Pterosaurs, which were basically smaller relatives of triceratops, and eventually ends up returning and challenges ends up challenging the raptor and basically like avenges the death of her. Okay. Kinda distracted by the game. So now that we are familiar with the main plot point, now it's time to get you guys introduced to the lore of the novel. So the novel takes place in a northerly temperate setting, in the forest with harsh winters, but nice tranquil summers. And one of the most fun parts is just designing the geography. So I think creating the geography is a very important part of any fantasy setting. And basically, like all the animals in the novel are like a combination of modern day animals, like extinct ones like dinosaurs, and there are some creatures that I actually designed on my own. So I wasn't originally going to have some sort of creatures, basically be like but I absolutely like biology, so I just kind of rolled with it. So I ended up with a lot of biology. So with all these custom created creatures, it's very important to tell you about something. So as for now, all of the fictional creatures I created for the novel are all technically birds. Well, technically they would be called dinosaurs, but that brings us to one aspect of the novel, and that is that the novel, but the whole world that it's set in. So basically, I decided that some dinosaurs would just be grouped under the common name bird. Specifically all pterosaurs. I think I pronounced it. Pterosaurs were a clade of dinosaurs, which were they were basically the dinosaurs more closely related to birds than to other kinds. So it's a very diverse family of dinosaurs, and it's still alive today because birds. So examples of pterosaurs that actually existed in history would have been Tyrannosaurus, and also Tyrannosaurus. Of course, birds. We can't forget birds. Oviraptors, Compsognathid, Ornithomimids, Therizinosaurids, Alvarezsaurs. There were all there were also the Troodontids and Dromaeosaurs, so raptors. There were also some more obscure ones like Camptoreopterygids, for these weird tree climbing monsters. fictional pterosaurs in the novel too, but it's mostly pterosaurs. So let's see of course there are a lot of like real life representatives of pterosaurs in the novel, but also some that I created myself. And I'm gonna yeah, this is one of my favorite strategies in totally I could Battle Simulator, just spam vampires all over the enemy. This guy's doing a little victory dance. Anyways, so some examples of the fictional pterosaurs I created for the novel are, so I remembered Cancer of the Rigid, so those living dinosaurs. I have the high ground! So since there was there is some evidence membrane. So they have had a wing membrane. So I created a couple of fictional members of this group for the novel, and basically well, they could only glide in real life. The fictional ones I created were basically like real life dragons, and actually have like full power to fly. So it'd basically be fulfilling the niche of like birds of prey, like giant birds of prey that have a wing membrane instead of feathers. And those were very fun to create. I've created a couple of artworks. Fictional oviraptors. So in real life, oviraptors were omnivorous, but I thought, why don't I create? What if some of them were carnivorous? And I created a couple of fictional oviraptors that I imagine would have been more adapted to the predatory niche. So and there would have been like convergent evolution with other carnivorous dinosaurs. So that's that. I also briefly touched upon a subgroup of dromaeosaurs or raptors, those being microraptors. So microraptors and so Microraptor is my absolute favorite dinosaur, #1 favorite. So and just all of its relatives as a whole. So I briefly touched upon doing some speculative biology on microraptorines that would have been more adapted for coastal life. So think seagulls. I also I also did some speculative biology of troodontids. So troodontids were the smartest dinosaurs in the Mesozoic. They were closely related to dromaeosaurs, aka raptors, but they might have been more omnivorous. So with my speculative biology skills, I basically I basically did some speculative biology on troodontids. You must be really tired of hearing me say speculative biology. But I really like saying speculative biology. So basically, so my vision for these fictional troodontid dinosaurs would be what if these guys were more arboreal, so they would have so basically climbing into trees and using the trees to ambush prey, like some big cats and all that sort of stuff. Oops. Game is so weird. So that's that. And of course there's a whole lot more to unpack about my novel. I'll be basically doing a lot of videos. They're basically just me having a chat about my novel. So I hope you guys will be looking forward to those. I might also be finding the opportunity to here's some artwork of some scenes, some artwork of the creatures, and of course some lore. And one more thing I want to touch on is now at the moment I am focusing mainly on creating the fictional pterosaurs before the novel, but there's also pterosaurs taken into consideration. So what I was thinking is, so I was analyzing a lot of films, typically the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World films. And I was basically studying how film portrays pterosaurs. So I was thinking, so obviously the portrayal of pterosaurs in many films is often incorrect. But I was thinking, what if there were pterosaurs that acted more like the ones in films, so basically acting like giant birds of prey? But there was a problem with this. As much as I wanted to basically do this for my novel, there was a problem that the whole act like a giant bird of prey thing was kind of already taken over by a ton of things. But I still ended up creating, but I still ended up speculative biologying a handful of birds of prey like pterosaurs. And one thing I decided for some fictional pterosaurs is basically incorrectly called a pterodactyl. Well, I was thinking, why not basically group all of these speculative stereotypical looking characters as pterodactyls. So basically made a whole fictional character situation a whole lot funnier, but so whoa. Totally Accurate Battle Simulator is both the best and worst game at simulating battles, but it is the best game at simulating very painful death. So I will be touching on the lore of all these species that I created on my own. These wonderful speculative biology, these fictional species of dinosaurs and pterosaurs, and their fantastic lore. Even I'll be touching upon the whole story of the novel stuff. There's a lot about this book to be unpacked. So there will be many videos focusing on this novel. It's going to be a very common topic in this channel. I'll be doing a lot of videos sharing my artwork, telling you about the beautiful stories and stuff, and about like some of the information about these creatures. I love this game. Anyways, so expect to see a lot of videos about my novel in the future. Because there will be plenty. We're doing a dance. There will be plenty of videos, as I said. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself or I sound annoyed. But this will be a very covered topic on this channel. There will be I'll make some posts during the artwork and everything. Because there will be many upcoming videos which I talk about all the beautiful lore and stories and information about novel, about fictional creatures, about the real life creatures, about the ones that were in real life, but then they went extinct, about you know, all the little quirks of them having human level intelligence. But my plans for future novels, my plans for this one, the geography of the whole setting, and of course I'll also touch on the plans. Get ready, it's gonna get loud. expect many future videos